Hi, it's me, unexpectedly dropping a video again on a topic that I am definitely not confident of, but I've decided to just put it out there, okay? So, upon listening to the interview done by this person, I'm going to just put a screenshot up here now of the director. So we're just going to talk about the interviews of the director, and then the director was like, we don't have parallel timelines and parallel worlds and stuff." And I was like, well, this is news to me, but I guess it makes sense. So then I crafted in my small pea-sized brain, with that one bit of brain cell left that is still working, I made a eureka moment, basically. I had a eureka moment at this point, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And I will now share what makes sense in my brain now, because you're going to see some real life footage of me trying to figure everything out with pins, pinboard, and strings. I say it with like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop talking. Goodbye. Look, it's me. And this is a real life video footage, and no longer a screen that has only one color, and that is either black or white. But yes, this is a link click video in which I use a metaphor to describe what I believe is the link click timeline and how it represents basically what a timeline is. I said that in one of the, I think, written bits in my space over there, in my descriptions and all that, that you can visualize the entire link click universe as a pinboard, and all of these pins are key points that must be or can be gone through. They are called canon events. There we go. Canon events like these cannot be overcome or not passed through. These are the red pins. I've represented them as them. And the blue pins, these blue pins are the ones that can be surpassed, but the effort is less than the red pins, but more than the white pins, in which they can just be miscellaneous. They don't have to be passed through with. Now, the line over here, this string over here, is representative of the timeline itself. So the journey of which time goes through. The start of the string represents the start of the universe, of which how this universe is born, and the end, I have no clue. This is supposedly an infinite string, so you don't see the end, but you are always standing at the end unless you go back in time. Now this is the present. This is the present, of which, because we are staying in the present, this is the point of which we remain. Now let's put it here. Yeah, let's put it here. So, what is going on, essentially? When a person travels back in time, such as Cheng Xiaoshi, they receive the photo. Here's when the photo was taken. When Cheng Xiaoshi receives the photo and decides to go through this, going back, diving into the photo to go back in time, this thing over here, this string over here, comes a bit loose at this point, because what happens is Cheng Xiaoshi has to go through what this person took the photo and afterwards does all that thing, and there will be variations. There can be variations like this, where he accidentally does something that wasn't originally there, so something like words or things that were done that weren't done in the original, without all these white occasions, all that. There can also be changes like a few of these. Rather than just being one, it can be a few more. Like this. in the end, it is a draw one line to the end. That kind of thing. It's only one line. Now, there is no loop in this case because loops are kind of weird. Why do I say it like that? Loops are weird because when you loop something, it crosses at one point, but then the thing is, this line is just a line, so even if you loop it and then you pull it back, it doesn't have a loop. All you have to do, rather than looping, is resetting the timeline. So what happens if Cheng Xiaoshi went back in time for more than 12 hours? Here's the problem, right? Lu Guang went back in time for more than 12 hours, so the photo was taken. The photo was taken and he went back in time, right? He got the photo, he went back in time. For more than 12 hours, what happens is this string, okay, maybe I should have chosen that, but let's see, okay. Here is where he receives the photo. There is when the photo was taken. Let's just make an example out of this. If he receives the photo here, he takes the photo and he goes back in time to that point, and it's been more than 12 hours. What happens is the entire timeline undoes itself. And what happens is whenever this person is in this timeline, wherever this line goes until this point, until the present of which that person is at, that's where it stops, okay? This becomes the present. This becomes the present. Now, however he leads this is a new timeline. But it's just the same string. It's the same piece of string, but it's a new timeline. And now, whatever combination it has to go through, something like this, right, that is possible, okay? It's a timeline. It's just a line. It's a string that goes through everything. Now, what does the green represent? Because the green seems to be an odd one out. Here is the bit of which there was some sort of brainstorming over here. So Lu Guang decided to kill Vane and supposedly create a new key point, a new canon event. Why are these, we have to go back to why are these pins, red pins, so hard to remove? Why are these canon events so hard to remove? That's because things like earthquakes that are being reported and have a lot of people's lives staying on top of this is very hard to, just move it out and place it somewhere else. There are a lot of lives that were in this event being taken away, and a lot of people have witnessed this event. So it becomes something that is set in stone. Everyone knows and everyone will care for it. So if you try to remove it, it doesn't make any sense because there will be additional things that are compensating with this, and thus you don't move it. Some of this you just don't move it. These, on the other hand, some individuals know, a lot of individuals do not know, so these are easier to remove. These, on the other hand, no one knows. Maybe no one knows. Maybe I accidentally ate one scoop of ice cream more when I went back in time. That doesn't change a lot because no one knows it, and therefore how many scoops you ate doesn't really matter unless it compensates with when you go to the bathroom, but whatever. Here, this is a man-made marker to simulate what this is. So here you can think about it this way. Vane's death is recorded. There are a few people who know. Essentially, it's a man-made version of what these two types of pins are. However, it also has this aspect of death. So we know that death is one of the very hard to overcome kind of points. So here is the new marker that Lu Guang sets in this timeline in which he went back and decided to do this to the timeline, and now you have a new timeline. So there will be a few shuffles of the events, but it's a timeline, it's a line in the end. Now, I then said in some sort of form of description that Liu Xiao is, or Xavier is the person who's looking at this like, ooh, this is a pinboard and this is the timeline. So I can make people, I can influence people into doing things like this. I can make people change this line or change these pins or make new pins. This is him. This is his manipulative tactic. And then Li Tiancheng and Li Tianxi's powers were on this line. Specifically, they are the people who are walking on this line. Chen Xiaoshi's abilities, Chen Xiaoshi and his mother's abilities actually both have the qualities of manipulating the strings. So some of these strings can be removed if gone back for too long, or they can reshuffle the events. So instead of going it this way, we could have just gone it through this way, and it would have made sense, right? So these are Chen Xiaoshi's powers. And Lu Guang's powers, so it seems as though he can manipulate some events through his powers, as well as okay, that was a bit tedious, but yes, he can also go back from this point to look back at this point going forward. So yeah, this is, I guess, how the string thing works. I know that Liu Xiao's powers were said to be stolen from some dead person. I don't know his powers. Maybe it's looking at the holistic of timelines and possible pinpoints, and then make sure that these people who can manipulate these things manipulate it in his own way. But yes, this is in fact a timeline, just a line, and all these pins are essentially events that can or must be experienced. And there are people's lives that are these pins that you have to go through. If a person died, there are one pin. There are a pin, and they die there. That's their end. So this is how Link Click, I believe that's how Link Click portrays timelines. And yeah, so it does answer the question of whether or not there are parallel universes, which is no, apparently, according to the interview with the director. And yeah, so there are no loops, there's just reset of timelines. And I hope that explains a lot, I guess. Yeah. I don't know I only know the holistics. I don't want to think about the plot that much because I don't know how to explain the plot. I leave the explanation to the director, guys. There's no way I'm going to explain it. leave it to the people who are willing to do this. But yes, this is just a game of how you use the string to connect all the dots together that are necessary, you know. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching. Peace. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video I make. I should have made other videos, but anyway.